Prime Minister was in a jovial mood today, celebrating McLaren's Formula One success at the team's HQ in Woking. Sir Keir Starmer used the opportunity to push for more nationwide apprenticeships as part of an investment in sectors such as engineering, AI and hospitality to tackle youth unemployment. He also met up with our political correspondent Simon Harris. They discussed his future in Number 10 and his thoughts on Lando Norris becoming Britain's latest success story.
3,000 miles from Abu Dhabi, the McLaren headquarters in Woking was still buzzing. This is the home not just of the triumphant Formula One team, but also the production line where high-end supercars are built. And for the firm's apprentices, it's been a thrilling 24 hours.
Too much to put into words. Yeah, I rushed home to watch the race yesterday. It was great.
Brilliant to see Lando win. It's great to see what McLaren does on the track.
A bit nail-biting at times, but yeah, it's amazing that we've got another Drivers' Championship.
Energy is high. Everyone's been like, "Go on, lads, it's our team." That.
Lando Norris's third place in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix was enough to give him the 2025 Formula One Drivers' World Championship.
First of all, I want to say a big thanks to my guys, everyone in McLaren. My parents, I'm not crying.
Norris's emotional reaction was at the forefront of Sir Keir Starmer's mind when he addressed workers at the McLaren factory.
I thought the way in which he wanted to thank the whole of his team was really important, because he was emphasising that he's the person obviously doing the racing, but that can't happen without the whole McLaren team at every level working with him and for him.
The Prime Minister could be forgiven for wishing that sentiment was shared by his cabinet after another weekend of fevered speculation about a leadership challenge.
How angry does this talk about plotting make you?
I am absolutely focused on the one thing that matters to me, which is changing this country for the better. I'm very happy to be out and about this morning, not talking about internal politics of the Labour Party, but talking about what we're doing for young people.
The Prime Minister was in Woking to announce a government ambition to encourage another 50,000 apprenticeships in the UK over the next 3 years. McLaren is a big part of the local economy.
We in automotive employ 2,500 people. If you multiply what's in the supply chain in the UK, it's probably fivefold the 2,500. And 90% of what we produce goes abroad. That's great for Surrey, but it's also fabulous for the UK.
For its next intake of apprentices, the company has already had 21,000 job applications. Simon Harris, ITV News, Woking.
OK, some other news tonight. The Transport Secretary unveiled the new branding for Great British Rail at London Bridge Station today, as the government pushed ahead with plans to nationalise the railways. Ticket prices might be far from the days of BR in the 1980s, but they will at least be frozen for commuters next year. The same can't be said for passengers on the Underground. Fares will rise by an inflation-busting 5.8%. That, the Transport Secretary said, was the deal the Mayor agreed to. Here's our political correspondent Simon Harris.
It's only a toy train at the moment, but it's the future of rail travel. This was the launch at London Bridge of new-look trains under the Great British Railways brand. The return of a state-owned railway will also see fares frozen next year, but not on Transport for London. 6 months ago, the government gave TfL £2.2 billion. But a letter from the Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander, to the Mayor makes it clear that a condition of the funding deal is that TfL puts up fares every year. She says the funding in this settlement is provided against an assumed scenario that overall TfL fares will rise by the value of RPI, that's inflation, +1 for each year of this settlement.
That's the largest single capital settlement in a decade, and so the Mayor did agree that he would look at how London could make a contribution to that as well. And I don't think he's made his final fares decision yet, but we've worked closely together.
Based on June's inflation figure, the TfL fare rise is likely to be 5.8%.
It's not what I expected after rail prices being frozen and everything, so very disappointing.
I travel most days to work. I use the public transport. It will affect me and lots of people I know.
I still think they should just give it for free to the nurses so they could afford to travel to work, and then I can pay a little bit more.
The branding for Great British Railways includes red, white and blue to represent the Union flag, as seen on this computer-generated video.
A good paint job's one thing, but I think actually getting things sorted for passengers like safety, fare prices, trains arriving on time, I think those are what's most important for passengers.
Many commuters know their train lines by names like Thameslink or Chiltern, and for some that won't change with the arrival of GBR.
So when you want to buy a ticket on the app, it'll be a GBR app. You get rid of the 14 separate train company apps. The names that are familiar to people and people like South Eastern, South Western and Great Western, we'll keep those because people recognise them.
The toy train was certainly enough to make 3-year-old Manny jump with excitement. Unfortunately, it won't be available from Father Christmas for another year. Simon Harris, ITV News, London Bridge.
And the new fares will be one of the hot topics on our political show tonight as part of the fallout from last month's budget. Our political correspondent Simon Harris is in our Westminster studio.
Despite having his hands tied by the government's latest funding package, Sadiq Khan has managed to find some wriggle room. Ministers were clear that in return for £2.2 billion, overall TfL fares would rise by inflation plus 1%. It's that word overall that has given the mayor some flexibility. So the inflation-busting fare increase will be confined to the Underground, Overground and Elizabeth line. But to keep bus and Croydon tram fares frozen, Sir Sadiq will have to raid City Hall's piggy bank. All of this, of course, follows the government decision in the budget to freeze national rail fares. On tonight's programme, we'll discuss whether the budget has taken the pressure off Sir Keir Starmer. Is a leadership challenge imminent, or does the Prime Minister have breathing space until the local elections in May? Plus, winter pressures on London's hospitals as patients sleep in corridors, cases of flu are on the increase, and there's still the threat of a pre-Christmas doctors' strike. And we'll look at how the government's house-building ambitions are having an impact on the green belt in London and the home counties. Joining me in the studio, MPs Natasha Irons, Andrew Rossendale and Helen Maguire. That's the late debate here on ITV1 after news at 10.
Worried traders whose businesses could be demolished to make way for over 20,000 new homes in Enfield say their concerns are being ignored. The site at Cruise Hill was chosen as the likely location for a new town development, but locals have been kept guessing about the future, as our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
Enfield has an unusual claim to fame. The North London Borough boasts a collection of garden centres at Cruise Hill known as the Golden Mile of Greenhouses, and the Bird Centre is one of the main attractions. But after 40 years, Trevor fears his business is about to be buried beneath one of Labour's new towns.
This has been here many, many years. Why destroy it? Why build in Cruise Hill when they can build on other plots they've got elsewhere around Enfield and the surrounding areas, which they've never bothered with anyway?
Platform 1 for the 0955 Great Northern service to Moorgate.
It's easy to see why the government chose Cruise Hill. The city is only a 40-minute train ride away. But the plan to build 21,000 homes in this slice of Greenbelt has provoked a furious reaction from the garden centres and their customers.
To be told that we're going to need to go is quite devastating. But not only that, because we're tenants, we don't own the land. If there's a compulsory purchase, the landlady gets the money, but yeah, we're just told to go, which gives us a very bleak future.
The new town's supporters, including Sadiq Khan, see it as an answer to London's housing crisis.
A lot of the debate around this has focused on kind of scenic landscape and what's pretty, but what's not pretty is the record levels of temporary accommodation we see in London. Over 90,000 children currently trapped living in temporary accommodation. That's enough to fill Wembley Stadium.
In her budget, the Chancellor argued the government had made fair and necessary choices.
And we faced opposition to them, from opponents to planning reform, who will always demand that the future is built somewhere else, not in their backyard.
We're definitely not a bunch of NIMBYs. We recognise that housing is essential. Everybody deserves a nice, warm house to live in, and we're fortunate that we already have those. But it needs to be the right houses in the right places.
The Bird Centre says some of its customers travel from as far away as the south coast.
It's very, very heart-breaking, really. A place like this eventually will be gone forever.
The new town's opponents claim their concerns are being ignored. Labour-run Enfield Council, which backs the development, promises it will be shaped by local people. The threat to the Greenbelt will almost certainly play a part in next May's London council elections. Simon Harris, ITV News, Cruise Hill.